it is time for me to read some chapters of that Nebula shortlist that I talked about last week, because if you saw that video, I was like, well, I have heard of so few of these, and some of these I should have heard of, and some people got me really excited about some, and some books I was pretty sure would not be for me, and we have a whole range of experiences here, because for the 5 books I hadn't read, I tried to read about 30 pages of each of them, which for some was a chapter, which some was a few chapters, but 30 pages felt like a good sample size. It's like 40 minutes of my life. Some books I didn't make it that far for 2 different reasons. Either because I loved it so much and I wanted to wait till I could really read it, or I hated it so much. And then one of them I actually don't know how many pages I read, because I just used the Amazon sample chapters, because I couldn't find this book like anywhere in my library system. But let's first talk about a book that I have read, A Sorceress Comes to Call. It's a little shiny, so I will put up an image. A Sorceress Comes to Call is a T. Kingfisher dark fairy tale retelling. She does a lot of these. They are a lot of fun. This one is probably one of the strongest in that oeuvre. And as I've talked about before, the Nebula Awards are authors and people in the craft nominating people that they respect and like and enjoy their works. And I'm not surprised that T. Kingfisher has become one of those names that gets nominated often with those things in consideration. Not only is this a tightly written book that is enjoyable, that does blend a lot of tones and genres in a way that, like, she makes it seem so easy that we're all just like, oh, that was just so fun, though. Like, you know, it's kind of like, why should we highlight this? But I do think I, and maybe others, also forget that it actually is really hard to accomplish what she does seamlessly on a regular basis. That said, it still probably wouldn't be the book I would nominate or vote for. But if you've seen her acceptance speeches, she is a hoot when she's allowed on stage with a microphone. So I could also, see why that's an incentive to see if her books could, win awards. I'm not saying it doesn't deserve to be here. I'm just saying that after, let's see, Nettle and Bone, like What Moves the Dead, like she's had a lot of works lately. I don't know if this one's that different. And maybe that's why I feel a little weird. And I don't know if I was to be asked what's a book that represents 2024. Is it this one? I don't know. Like, it's not really, cozy fantasy. It's not romantasy. It's not doing anything special. And I don't think it was, like, such a favorite of everyone. So I don't really know. But it was good. I liked it. It's definitely stronger than other things in this stack. Let's also then talk about one I don't have. This is the one I did the sample chapters for. Oh, it's like Sleeping Worlds, No Memory, or some title noun soup. Very classic fantasy cover. There is no audiobook for this. I cannot find this book at any of my libraries, and so I got the sample chapters. And this one was weird to me because there are a lot of books in this stack that I could say, oh, okay, these are here because this is an author's author. Authors are really appreciating the intentionality, the craft, the word choices, the turn of phrases. Like, there's a syntax level to it. I find the syntax of this book to be very clunky. Very clunky. Like, could have used an editor clunky. Like, it's not bad. But I guess the way I would describe this is it reminds me of some self-published books I've read, and not in a bad way. Like, I think there's good bones here. But a lot of things that can happen for some self-published books is they don't get to have the editorial team a trad publishing book does. And therefore, there is a difference in the writing styles you can end up with. There's like sometimes a lack of polish, or there's like an awkwardness or clunk. Sometimes it comes with the choice of adjectives that are used. I don't really know how to describe it, but I was definitely jarred from reading it, even though premise-wise, it's not that bad. If I could find a free copy, I would maybe consider putting it on like a long-term TBR, especially if there was ever a challenge where it met the prompt. But essentially, one of our main characters basically chose not to hurt rioters and is now being punished by losing his job and being sent to go work on the construction of this very mythically large, I don't know, there's something mysterious about it, tower. Our other main character is presumably one of the people crafting this tower, like the architect. She obviously has a secret. And yeah, and it seems like a kind of steampunk, or maybe not steampunk, but like it's got a weird tech magic combination situation going on here. And there's definitely like an ethnicity that is probably being othered, but their tech is being used. Like there's some interesting things. But the writing style is not what I would call polished, personally. At least it jarred me out of it. And I have like a low threshold. So I don't know. I'm curious about it. I don't know how all these authors got to read this and why they decided to nominate it. Maybe that's revealed later on. I only read, like the first half of the sample chapters. Like I read like 2 or 3 chapters. And, that's how I feel about it. All right. I guess now let's go from least favorite to favorite of the physical ones I have. Least favorite goes to Rakesfall. Oh boy. These are all library books, so I'll put an image up because I don't want to hold them because my baby arms got hurt in a workout class. I'm so weak. So holding things is like painful, even though, is this very heavy? No, but painful. So I read the first 12 pages of Rakesfall, and for all of these so far, I had been trying to read up to 30 pages. And if I'd read 30 pages of Rakesfall, I would have finished part 1, which would have been, I thought, nice. And I read Saint of Bright Doors, and I had some issues, but I didn't have as many issues with that as I did with Rakesfall. And my issues stem primarily from I have no idea what's happening, and not in a good way. and it's from different angles, okay? Sometimes you don't know what's happening because he likes to reference Sri Lankan culture and history, so cool. I don't know everything about Asian culture, clothing, and the history and the specific colonialism impact there. That's one level, because there is definitely stuff I'm missing. The second is it's just surreal. This is just a very meta heavy, we have a TV show that these maybe dead children, maybe living children, unsure, are watching, and within the TV show, they're a show that it's a little meta, it's a little weird. I don't know what's happening. And then, and I'm not talking about cultural words, I'm talking about books, words in the dictionary words. And I don't have a bad vocabulary. But, granted, someone commented on a video lately saying I might have a limited vocabulary, which, fine. But I tend to read a lot of books, so I stumble across a lot of words. And I normally, even if I don't know a word, I can move on, right? Context clues. We all have our tricks. Every page, I would have to look up at least 2 words. And then I was talking to my friend, who's a lawyer, and I don't know if you know this, but lawyers really know words. And he was like, huh. Yeah, I didn't know that word either. And, I get it. When you write, chances are you love words, and you want to use words you find cool. But that, plus the weird plot, plus the cultural distance, I'm like, what is happening? What are we doing? So, it's a no from me. It's a no from me. Obviously, there's intentionality. Obviously, for some people, it will be perfect, but it will not be good for me. So it is now gone. It is away from me. If you want to try one of their works, I definitely think Saint of Bright Doors, although still tricky, is easier, personally. Because I didn't have this strong of a visceral reaction with Saint of Bright Doors. Saint of Bright Doors, I would enjoy reading it, and then be kind of tired because it took a little bit of work, but I wasn't looking up words. It wasn't as hard for me. I was a little more grounded. And here I just have nothing. I have nothing to latch onto. Just nothing. The next one that is on the, I guess, maybe one day I could read you, but also this book is so heavy, and that is The Book of Love. It is this thick. It is so much heavier than you think it is. They put some poundage on these pages. So, for reference, this book is almost 600 pages long. To be a 600-page speculative book, especially literary-leaning speculative book, you have to be something special. I have to love your writing right away. I did not hate the writing, but it really didn't suck me in. But I will say I liked the writing enough that if it was 300 pages, I would have finished it. I would have put it on a TBR. I would have read it if it was 300 pages. 600 pages, I don't think I have that stamina. I don't. And again, at least I'm grounded and I know what's generally happening here. And it reminds me of the premise of a musical. It's there's this Ride the Cyclone musical from Canada. It's a Canadian musical that I saw at a local theater around here, where we have these 3 teenagers who go missing for a year. They die. And then we come back into the book where they are brought back by their music teacher, make a deal with presumably the devil-like creature they were just with, that they will have to win challenges and half will have to stay and half will have to go. And there's a sister who, we start off with the sister of one of the lost siblings, and she gets really mad, and apparently they were all in a band together, and her sister, like, kissed the girl that she knew her sister had a crush on, and then so her sister kissed her sort of boyfriend in the band. It was a thing, apparently. This is all from the first 30 pages. So the dynamics seem messy, and like I said, it doesn't seem bad. Like, in a perfect world where I didn't, have so much time I had to work, I think I could just, like, read this and be like, yeah, this is, like, different than what I'm used to. 3.5 stars, let's go. But 600 pages of a 3.5 star is so different than 300 pages of a 3.5 star. So this is probably a no from me. But I did, like, tentatively at least have the audiobook around if I'm just ever, like, feeling it. But it's just so big. Like, this is so big for what it is. Like, this is mostly, it feels like general fiction with, like, a speculative twist. Like, it doesn't, I don't know. Okay, so then the last two are two that are actually going to go on my immediate TBR, hopefully next month. Maybe a little later if, like, things get away from me, but I'm hoping. One that I was hopeful for because everyone was loving it, and it had, like, 9,000 ratings. Like, I should have read this book. Or have heard of this book. But I hadn't. I'd never seen this cover. I knew nothing about it, and that's Someone You Can Build a Nest In. I finished the first part of this. It was giving me Green Teeth vibes. So for those who've read Green Teeth, initially Green Teeth vibe, which makes sense because both are from the perspective of a monster. I don't know if it'll stay that way. I know this is supposed to be more romantasy. Green Teeth is not a romantasy. So I read this. It's... Honestly, the pitch I would give a lot of people, especially people who have read Sanderson, is have you ever wanted to read a book from the perspective of a Kandra? And if you know, you know what that means, okay? Like, obviously this is not a Kandra, but it's a creature unlike us. It's not mammalian. It doesn't have vasculature systems. It can consume things and then use the bits of the things it consumes to make its own anatomy. And we meet up with this creature right after it had to wake up early from a hibernation while hunters are trying to hunt it, and it's currently on the run. I'm into it. I'm intrigued a little bit because I kind of like the idea of reading a book from the perspective of a Kandra-like creature. I think it's kind of cool. I don't know how the romance is going to work. Currently, I'm literally at a cliffhanger. We literally just went over a cliff. So I would really like to get to it sooner rather than later, like after this weekend would be nice. And then, unlike Rakesfall, where I read 12 pages and could not continue because my brain was just like, no, I am not dealing with this today. No, thank you. We have Asunder, which apparently got, like, negative marketing last year, from what I have heard. So I think this might be the first in a series. Although on Goodreads, I don't think it says so yet, but I think when I was searching, this is a tentative first in a series. People who have read it will have to tell me if it actually reads as a complete thought or if it's, like, definitely open-ended. It's not going to affect whether I read it or not, but I don't know for sure, having not finished it myself. I read the first 12 pages, and I was like, yes, locked in, let's go. But wait until I have time to read it. Like, that's how I felt. We have this person who can basically interact with dead bodies and, like, figure out, I think, their last moments of life. And she's hired by this person to figure out what happened to the people who were handling their last, like, smuggling mission. So kind of under the table stuff, but, girls gotta eat, presumably. That's the vibe I got. And things are just bad vibes. Lots of bad vibes. Nothing feels good. They keep going. They then go into a cave, great ideas. Things still aren't good. And you can definitely tell in this first chapter, it's like, ooh, this world is interesting. This world is cool. There are different godlike forces at play, and one is above the other at the moment, and the magic seems interesting. Like, you're just very like, ooh, what is happening? Lots of good world-building intrigue for those like me who like a good world-building intrigue. And so then, stuff happens. Some dramatic and big action moment, very video game, like big opening. This felt like the opening of a video game that I then instantly wanted to keep playing. Okay, especially because I was in a lit up cave, very Horizon. It's nothing like Horizon, but that's just how I was vibing with it. And then she is processing this thing that just happened, and literally also left off at a cliffhanger at the end of that chapter where she is hopefully saving herself from the situation. And yeah, I'm in. I'm in. This would be my first Kirsten Hall. I did not read Star Eater, which I think maybe was young adult. If it wasn't young adult, someone can correct me. I think that one had to do with nuns. Gosh, one of the reasons why I thought it was young adult is, like, not a lot of people in my sphere were talking about it, but I saw the cover around a lot. but I don't know if that's a good indicator. So yeah, those are my thoughts on those books. And, you know, I am happy that there are 2 books I would like to read, and that I verified that 3 of them are probably not for me. Like I said, the only one that I will truly never ever pick up again is Rakesfall, because I just don't think I'll get anything from it, and I will just be sad, and the world doesn't need me to rate that book a 2-star. Like, that's not what the world needs. And then, like I said, if it's ever available from my library, or an audiobook, I would even spend a credit to get the audiobook, because those aren't like real money to me, because they're like a gift from Christmas and I never know what to spend them on. I would consume that Sleeping World's Memory book, whatever it's called, but it literally is only from Amazon in like paperback or Kindle, and I'm not spending $15 on it. It was not that good for those first couple pages. Like, no, I'm not doing that. And then the Book of Love is... Why is it so long? Can anyone explain to me why it's so long? It's so long. And I read long books, but that's long. Am I really off base with any of these? Like, I don't normally do try chapters, because I'm not normally someone who picks up a book based off if I read a chapter, but this was kind of fun. Like, I guess I'm normally someone who goes to a bookstore and I'll read a couple pages to see if the writing and my brain are friends. But I rarely read like a whole chapter, mainly because I'm kind of a slow reader. Like, my reading pace is kind of slow. Like, if I'm lucky, a page a minute. You know, that type of pace, which isn't bad. It's an average speed, which is okay. If you want to just leave an emoji to let me know you're here, leave a monster emoji for the monster romance. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.